Hey there guys, welcome back to another video here at Top Tier Garage. Today I'll be going over how to change the front and rear differential oils inside of a Honda Foreman Rubicon. They suggest that you should replace this oil every 2 years or 1,200 miles, depending on which comes first. This process is super easy. It should only take you maybe an hour or two, depending on if nothing goes wrong and all the bolts come out. So now I have a feeling I'm going to run into a few issues because this 2006 Honda Foreman Rubicon still has the factory gear oil in it. It was never changed, never serviced, so I'm curious to see what the condition of the oil is. And it is currently sitting at 6,400 miles, so curious to see how black this oil is. Stay tuned. So the very first step in changing the rear differential oil, we'll start out with the rear, is to take off this outer cover. So it sits on there like this. There's a 12 mil bolt. There's 3 of them. One over here, here, and here. Just little guys. So once that's done, there are, on the bottom side right here, there is a 10 mil drain bolt. On the other side, there is another 10 mil where you use it to check the level of the oil. And up top here, there is a large circle where you fill it. So now the rear differential does not take very much oil. So I'll show you the draining process now. So now that we're under it, right here is where that drain bolt is. So now before you pull this guy out, mine was built up with corrosion, so I actually just hit it with a little bitty Dremel with the wire wheel on it to clean it up. But you want to make sure the top 17 mil cap where you fill it and the check hole, you want to make sure you can break those bolts loose without breaking them off. Because if you pull this bolt, this drain bolt, and all of a sudden this top one it doesn't come out or it wrecks something, if that bottom one just comes out, there's no way you can refill this differential. So just make sure you can turn them. Mine were pretty easy. So now it's time to pull this guy. See, just like that. Snapped off. Not what you want to happen. So now it's turned into quite a long project. 1 to 2 hours was not in the scope. All right, so after about an hour messing around with it, I was not able to get that drain plug out. I tried drilling it, doing an easy out. I tried basically everything. I even tried welding a nut to it and spinning it out. I'm pretty sure it's just in there because I believe that this is an aluminum and that's steel, so chances are it like galled inside there and it's a lost cause. The only way really now would be to take out the whole entire rear differential, drill the entire thing out, and then retap it. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I got a hose here with a brake booster or a brake vacuum, and then I am just going to try and suck all the differential oil as much as I can out the top. I wouldn't recommend this if you're looking to pump like quarts at a time, but if you're just trying to get as much as you possibly can, this will work just fine. Really sucks that had to break, but what can you do is sometimes projects end up like that. Now, we're not going to get all the differential oil out, but we'll get most of it. So now we're just going to drain it back. This is an absolute freaking disaster. So I'll just tune you guys in when it's all drained. So after a few rounds, I was able to get majority of it out, but look at that color. It's black. It's crazy how dark it is. It should be clear. Well, I should say a little bit of a brown tinge to it, but it should not be this nasty. But like I said, it was a factory oil. The guy I got it from said that nothing was ever changed, not even the spark plug. So the only thing that was changed is the oil, thank God. So now I'm gonna refill it up until it comes out of this side hole. It'll start weeping out of the side hole. And maybe I'll even go a little extra, maybe purge it once or twice to get out as much as I possibly can due to the fact that I can't pull that drain plug. So this is stuff that I'll be adding. It's just gear oil, 80W90. It's meant for this rear ends. So I'm just gonna add it until it starts coming out of there, and then probably try and suck it out again. Super thick oil, so it takes a while for it to fill up. So now it's starting to weep. Starting to weep right here. We'll let that leak out so that it gets back to the correct level. All right, so once all the oil stops coming out of that check bolt, just put it back in. Also put in your fill cap and then put on the rear guard. And then pray that it never happens again, because you can never change the oil in it anymore unless you do that stupid way that I did. Then we're gonna move on to the front and hope that our days are better. So I already worked on this a little bit. I removed this plastic. It's just the gray covering. So you don't have to remove it in order to change it. I just did it for recording purposes. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see anything. So right there is where the 17 mil cap is. I just took it out with a small impact. And then this one does not have a check bolt at all. It just has a drain bolt on bottom, 10 mil. So I did a little bit of, I guess you could say, prevention. I sprayed some PB Blaster on it. I heated the bolt up and tapped it a little bit to hopefully free up the threads. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this guy on #1 setting to hopefully free it up a little bit. I mean, if it's gonna snap, it's gonna snap, so pray for me. All right, so here goes nothing. Did it come out? Yes. Look at that. Guys, it came out, thank God. There she is, just draining out. This does have quite a bit more oil than the rear differential, so it'll probably take a few minutes extra to drain. But look at that color still. I mean, it's freaking crazy how dark that is. All right, so after about, I'd say 5 minutes, it's just slowly dripping out now, and it's basically done. But it is very good that I checked this, because this thing was super low. And if you can tell. And again, extremely worn fluid, not good for it. I would say this thing had about a quarter of what should be in there. So it's very, very good that I checked this, because replacing this front differential does not look like a very fun task. So I'm just gonna put in the bottom drain plug again. Just gonna screw it in lightly. Put it with impact on one. I believe the correct torque spec is... we'll actually do the torque spec. I don't want to break this guy off too in there. So after this is all said and done, you actually, because there's no check bolt, you just fill it until it comes out of that fill hole, and then you're done, button it up, and you're good to go for another 1,200 miles or 2 years. So also, I forgot to say, another important tip for filling is to add a chunk of hose, because you can't actually fit that bottle in there and get it into that hole without making a mess. Well, you can just do like this and then squeeze. Bam, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Till next time.